So, guys, Khamzat Chimaev versus Paulo Costa is back on. That was a bit of a shock. If you remember back, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, Paulo Costa was supposed to fight at UFC 291. That fight just gets cancelled. We don't know why. There wasn't really a reason given. And, you know, we thought it would, on Chokes and Eye Pokes, we spoke about it. What was happening with Paulo Costa? Was he injured again? Was he just not wanting to fight? And we also asked the question, where the hell is Khamzat Chimaev? Because a guy that was so active, fighting multiple times a year, only taking short breaks, a couple of months between fights, all of a sudden disappeared. There was talk of him fighting Kamaru Usman. We don't know if that was 170, 185. There was, up until about a week ago, there was discussion of him fighting Jared Cannonier. It's a fight I really liked. We said on the show that it's a fight that would tell us a lot, especially in terms of Khamzat Chimaev's power. Is it going to translate from 170 up to 185? If you want to test your power, Jared Cannonier is a solid test for you to do that. That fight never happened for whatever reason. If you remember a couple of months back, Khamzat Chimaev and Paulo Costa ran into one another at a training session, and they had words before Khamzat's Kevin Holland fight. That fight looked like it was going to be made. I even made a video about it, giving you my thoughts on the fight. That fell through. Fast forward a couple of months later, they're not going to fight one another. And it's a fight I'm really, really excited about. I think this fight is going to tell us a lot, particularly for Khamzat Chimaev. We kind of know what Paulo Costa can do. We know what he's capable of, particularly at 185. He's been up and down recently. He had good performances, and then he had some, in my opinion, a shocking performance against Vettori, but he's still a top contender. I think it will tell us what Khamzat Chimaev's power is like at 185. He's been running through the 170 division and realistically could have probably fought for a title if he'd stayed, but he's been running through everybody, apart from Gilbert Burns maybe, but ragdolling people. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens against Paulo Costa. If you look at the times that Paulo Costa's fought wrestlers, in particular against Yoel Romero, it was a bit of a stand-up battle, but the times that Yoel Romero tried to take Paulo Costa down, he did struggle quite a bit. And the times that he actually got him down, he struggled to keep him down. We know Khamzat Chimaev's game plan. Khamzat Chimaev's going to come there. He's a freak train. He's going to have that berserker attitude, go forward, try to get you to the ground and finish you. I don't know if he can do that to Paulo Costa. And this is why this fight is so interesting, because we're going to get all of these answers in this fight. And it's interesting for another reason, because a lot of people are now saying, with Dricus pulling out of the fight with Israel Adesanya, the winner of this fight needs to get a title shot. I disagree. I think Khamzat Chimaev maybe has a strong case because he has a lot of fans within the UFC. People really like Khamzat Chimaev, and people are getting behind him. But there's no build with Israel Adesanya yet. If you put them together, of course, Khamzat going to talk a lot of shit. They're going to be able to build that fight. Izzy might call for that fight, but I don't like that fight for Izzy. I don't know if Izzy takes that fight. If you look at Paulo Costa, if Paulo Costa wins this fight, which he has a high likelihood of doing, I don't think he gets a title shot. I mean, we saw what happened to him the last time when he fought the champion. Champion just decimated him. And if you look again, like I say, he's been up and down. Vettori, who's way out of the title picture, beat him quite comfortably. So this fight's going to be interesting. It's going to tell us a lot about the middleweight division and Khamzat Chimaev at middleweight. I'd still like to see Khamzat Chimaev and Jared Cannonier fight each other, or maybe have Jared Cannonier fight the winner of this fight, and then be next in line after we have Dricus du Plessis versus Israel Adesanya. But it's an interesting fight. It's a very, very interesting fight. I'd like all these questions answered. How strong is Khamzat Chimaev at 185? Does his power translate not in the grappling exchanges, but in his shots as well? We've seen him knock people out at 170. He has got knockout power. How good is he going to do against a proper striker? Because remember, Paulo Costa, before he fought Israel Adesanya, had a real berserker type style as well. He would just go forward like a freak train and not really worry about getting hit and just take you out. If he does that against Khamzat Chimaev, that's going to be the first time that someone puts pressure on Khamzat. So we're going to see how he reacts to that. So there's a lot of questions that need to be answered in this fight. I really, really like the fight. I think the UFC's done a great job here actually getting Khamzat to 185. I think he's going to be committed to staying at 185. Does he get a title shot next? As I said, I don't think he should. But who knows, We also said on Chokes and Eye Pokes a while back, Izzy does what Izzy wants. So if Izzy decides, the winner of this fight, he doesn't want to wait for next year to maybe fight Dricus, assuming he gets past Strickland, which we all think he will, what does that mean for the title picture? Do they then fight at the end of the year? Is there a card for them to fight at the end of the year? But it is interesting in the fact that we're going to get to see what Khamzat Chimaev is like at 185, and all those questions are going to be answered. One more thing I will say is, if you look at the path of Khamzat Chimaev and you look at the path of Dricus du Plessis, they were on similar paths. Okay, now Khamzat might skip the queue, but I don't think so. If we just backtrack a couple of months back, before the Dricus du Plessis and Robert Whittaker fight was announced, you had Dricus du Plessis as the only person that the champion hadn't faced in the top 10, essentially. He still had to go through the boogeyman of the division, which was Robert Whittaker. So maybe an option for the UFC after this, and Robert Whittaker wants to get back in and prove himself, is to then have Khamzat also fight the boogeyman of the division. Still the boogeyman of the division, Robert Whittaker. So it's going to be interesting to see what the UFC does with this. They're obviously wanting Khamzat to win. They're pushing Khamzat. That's my opinion, that they want Khamzat to win. But if Khamzat doesn't win, what happens then? Because it kind of becomes a nothing fight. But I really, really like this fight because it's going to tell us a lot about where Khamzat Chimaev is at 185. So I'll definitely be watching.